I think the reasons that I want to do ayahuasca slash Daime, or AKA Daime, um, get self get myself back centered again. It's very good just to like go in your head, especially for that long 3 days. This is going to be a rough one. I'm hoping the experience just, I mean, like I said, it's going to be a long one. It is going to be a tiring 3 days, but like that should be able to like work through everything that I've ever thought about in my head over 3 days, and just the clarity, and just the whole setting up to do a trip like this. You're like detoxing, cleaning yourself out, working out, like the whole thing is good for you. I'm hoping to take away just that everybody takes away something from this, not just me. Like everybody gets something out of this. Everybody needs it for something. Obviously, like I said, I want to go through the whole thing with it. I guess like from when I did it before, like those problems that I had back then, it definitely helped with. I don't have those problems anymore, but I think it's more just like helping myself be free for a little bit, a little brain strengthening, and definitely like it's not all fun and roses. You know, you got to go through a little struggle through this stuff. And experience is everything that like you think it would be. You're gonna go through the rough patches, maybe a purge, maybe a not. Just get in the head about everything and anything. And we're like, we have a good little solid group of us here together, but there's like 20 other people. But like usually when you're going into something like this, especially like in the States, like you don't get to get a good group that all in there. So you already have that safe feeling like going in, which will make the experience like a whole lot better because, we're going with a couple like rookies on this. But like I was telling everybody outside or anybody, like anytime you go in, especially on a 3-day experience, it doesn't matter if you've done it 100 times before. Like it's not going to be like the 100 times before. Every time you go back in, you're like a rookie. So that's a little bit what I like about the experience too. Like you don't know what the hell is going to happen. Even if it's scary, it somehow gives you a message and ends up good. Like just in the like I said, leading up to this, you get all ready for it, and like it tests you even in that way. So I think just the whole test of it is what gets me too. It's not really a test, but it's like in your head, it's like a test. Like, can I pass this? So I'm going to try to talk about the after experience today of the Daime. Just crazy. There's so much to unpack. I think everybody's light and power or whatever that is came out today. I had like different experiences with, I've done this before, ayahuasca, and the shaman that I did it with kind of came through today through other people. I had like, and I don't normally get instances like this, but like there was a time when like Mona was down and out, and my old shaman came through to me and was like, tell Mona I'm sending her a cold breeze and love. And then when I opened my eyes after I saw that, she like stood up and was fine. Maybe coincidence, maybe not, but that was definitely crazy. And then Anna, big shout out. Not only did you kill it on the guitar and the singing the whole time, but very, very powerful with what you did. I saw my old shaman come 100% through her in the walk, the face, everything. Like the focus she had on me to get better, be better, or whatever I was going through. I had great people like either side of me going through all their stuff, and you can feel it through everybody. And one of the things too is Yeah, I know it's scatterbrained and all over, but this is right after. On my first experience, my shaman then told me that I was carrying a rickshaw full of baggage of my friends and all the people I was like trying to care for. And at the time I was told this, like I knew what a rickshaw is, like what the thing is, but I didn't know it was called a rickshaw. So I just took it as like Rick Space Shaw, like a person was just a very heavy person. And I was carrying them on my back. And with this shaman, like I just took that in and didn't say anything afterwards. I was just like, all right, yeah, rickshaw. Then during our second Daime at that point, I was feeling completely out of it. And I went to the translator to the shaman. I was like, is this Rick Shaw ever gonna come so I can see how big he is? And needless to say, like 30 people died laughing. And then they had to explain to me what the fuck a rickshaw was. How that brings me to Jonathan is that original shaman was like, get rid of the rickshaw, and he's like, bring it down to essentially a backpack, but he called it a tote, so that it's not that big. And then in the first things that Jonathan said to me was, you need to get rid of the backpack. What the fuck moment. Knew I had the said backpack, didn't think anybody else could see it. So then that brought us to the moment where he brought us all like in the middle and released everybody's backpacks or luggage or whatever the hell they were carrying. Like it felt good, 100% felt good. But the happiness came out of, I've kind of felt this before, but like none of my friends have. And now they did. And we all did it together. Completely moving. Like I could, to Mona and her husband, thank you so much. I could tell Mona was keeping an extra eye out for me. She had explained my situation to everybody else. I could tell that was phenomenal. I could feel her sending to me to talk. And the only reason I didn't, because I knew we were doing these videos, so I was like, I gotta save it to get it out for them. To the people surrounding me, great person to the right, great person to the left. It was Michael's 70th birthday today. Great guy. He listened to one of the stories I had to say, and it was just a short story on the first day. And when he came back the second day, he's like, I thought about that all night. And for what I used to do, he was gonna donate to them. It was super powerful for a dude that has never done the Daime or anything before. It was his 70th birthday today, and he thought about that. And even when he spoke, he was like sending prayers to other people. Great dude. Gratitude for everybody there, from top to bottom. Guardians, Jonathan, Mona, her husband, singers, like everything. Surrounded by good people. Place was great. Third day ended up just being awesome, because first day was rough because it's the first day, and then we lost like a member too, so that was like weighing on everybody's head. And not like somebody passed, but like one of our people left. Second day was one of those days where it was like, no matter what, anything that I did was wrong. So then that weighs on you, and then the third day was just... Going in the first day, after having talked with Mona, the emails back and forth and all that stuff, Mona really laid it out perfectly. So as we were driving up, we were supposed to start with a group of 6. 6 couldn't come because of some stuff going on in their family. So we're driving there with 5. Um, I had no anxiety. There was a smidge of like, wish the 6th would come, but like more just happiness going because we've planned this all for a while. Um, so driving up, just like me and Mark are just chit chatting like it's nothing, and you can tell the anxiety like in the other 3. I mean, we're all still like, I mean, I have wonder. I'm sure that all the rest have anxiety. So pulling up, like, just the area you're driving to, it's beautiful out there. And then actually getting to Jonathan and Jan's property, it is perfect. It is perfect. Just for this type of experience, like, imagine where you would want to be if you're in the States, and this is it. This is the place. Going in, like, walking up, and like, of course, everybody is kind of like, there's some people that know each other and some people that don't. Um, our group really has, there's, our group is, most of the people are pretty good at just introducing themselves or fitting in and, you know, getting everything ready with hellos, and we're bringing in all our yoga mats and bedding and all that type of stuff. So, you know, we're loaded up with a bunch of junk. And on the way up there, somehow we got to talking about my voice and how weird it is, and you can't peg where I'm from because of the accents. And I was talking about something like, you know, I can't stand like hearing my own voice. So when we get there, you know, we're walking up to like the yurt, and I can already tell who like some of the people are. Like, you know, they're people that are going to be running the show and whatnot, introducing ourselves. And Mona comes by, and a couple of people in the group introduce themselves to her, and then I go to stick out my hand and say my name, and before I can even really get my name out, she's like, "Oh, I know, I heard your voice." So it was just funny because we were literally just talking about it, and everybody kind of like looks at each other. So now, get the work going. Everybody gets comfy, gets in their spots. You kind of get to meet your neighbors, know who you're going to be with for the next 3 days. And we do the first Daime. And once we form the lines to like go do it, I get to like, that's when a little bit of anxiety sets in. Because you know, or I kind of know what I'm in for, even though every experience is different, right? So we do it, and get back to our seats, and like the music's, you know, Jonathan says some stuff, and then the music starts. It didn't take long, like 20 minutes into the music, like there was no there was it was just bam. Lay down, take this. You've been waiting for this experience. The whole first Daime was just like, I was stuck, laying super, like the most comfortable I've been in a long time, but like stuck in my head, and just zapping between good stuff in my past. Nothing like, nothing too bad. And if like people in my childhood who have passed, or in my younger years who have passed, like I would get little zips and zaps of like they were happy with like with where I was at. I didn't know if that meant the actual space or where I'm at in life. But either way, like, that was cool. The people to my right was Michael. His birthday weekend. We'll get into that later. And to the left, another great dude. We never exchanged names, but we're like constantly there for each other throughout the works. Like when he was going through something hard, I was in a lighter thing, and I could tell he was going through something, and it was the opposite. So it was a good yin and yang. So we go to do the second one, and no anxiety in the line this time or whatever. We go up, and David, who is awesome, gives me that great smile, and like, you feel it a little bit more? And I was like, that's pretty much exactly what I was going to say. So we go in to do, after the second one. After like 5 minutes, I look over to my right, and I can tell, like, one of the people I'm with, Jay, like, I knew he felt it on the first one. On the second one, I look over, and I can tell, like, he's mad about something. So I'm not dealing with that. I'm dealing with my own thing. Once again, bam, it just hits. I forget about everything that just happened over there. I'm just like down. And as I go to like lay down, I can tell my buddy to my left also, like, he's feeling it hard, and he goes to, like, he lays in the side position too. So I don't know how long we're down, but I'm like laying there, and I kind of like look up to see who's in front of me, and they're standing, and I don't know how long everybody's standing. But us in the back, none of us are standing. We're all out of it. I'm the only one that's kind of like peeking my eye open. And something tells me to like roll to my back. So I like roll to my back, and I kind of got my eyes open. I can see the gentleman in front of me. And I close my eyes for a second, and when I open them again, it might have been 2 seconds or 5 minutes, and he's falling. He passed out standing up in front of me. And in the time it took him to fall, I was able to get in position to catch him, and while doing like that, like look over and see if he's going to help me too. And he sits up as soon as he feels like my sit up. So the guy passes out, falls on me, and I'm Indian style. And he fell on my leg. I caught his head. And when he fell on my leg, I could feel the pain. But like I was like worried about him, So I keep holding his head, and he's out of it for a couple more seconds. And then he opens his eyes. We lock eyes. I'm like, just calm down and breathe, buddy. You just passed out. Everything's going to be all right. And he just like smiles, and he sits up. And when he sits up and he gets off my leg, I can feel the pain. Like my hip like popped out. Not like fully, but you can feel like it's been overextended. So I kind of like try to like, do some little leg stretching and whatnot. And then tell the guardian like I'm going to go try to use the bathroom. And I go out there, and I get down the stairs, and it hurts so bad, and this shit has hit me so hard at the same time that it's like, just go back inside. So I literally just went back inside. I remember like trying to like get on the yoga mat and like use my hands so I could lightly sit down. And that didn't work. So I made a nice huge little thump, kind of made everybody like around me like look up a little bit. But as soon as I sat back down, like the pain was, I mean, I knew it was gonna hurt later, but it was like, yeah, you're totally good to lay and be fine. So I just laid on the other hip, and as soon as I put my head on that pillow, poof, gone again. No pain when the eyes are closed or whatever, just off and running. And this one was definitely more intense than the first one, but still like no darkness, just like it was really like just saying like work with what's in front of you right now, like the issues that I'm facing now. It was like super easy, you know, so it was like bouncing ideas back and forth in my head with someone else, but it was me bouncing ideas back and forth myself on how to fix or, you know, better strategize with what I have going on now. And it was all good. And now since I rolled to the other side, like I, you know, kind of popped my eyes open again, and I'm really looking through the top of the earth to see the clouds and shit. And like Jay like gets my attention again, and he's mad again about something, and I don't know. And I didn't care again in the least bit. You know, I gave him the once over. All right, you're not bleeding. Cool. Deal with it. We're all dealing with it. Go outside and sit down, sit in the sun. And I'm sitting next to Michael, gentleman to my right. His first time doing it, and he went through some stuff. So I really just wanted to talk to him because I was like, I could tell you went through some stuff, and you're kind of like trying to be by yourself right now. So he just gives me a little bit about himself, and he asks like about me, and I told him a little story about my past. Both had calming little stories, and then, you know, both go off. We got a couple more minutes before we got to go like back inside. So as I'm walking away from having the talk with Michael, I see Jay. He's way down past the bottom of the stairs in a little thing, and I'm going to like walk by, and I can tell he wants to talk to me, but I'm going to the bathroom, and I'm pretty zen. So I'm like, just hold on. And he goes off and talks to somebody else as I'm walking away, and I come back down, and I can just tell he's mad and about something, and he's like, you know, says whatever he says, and I was just like, oh, you're never coming back, cool. He was like, yeah, probably not coming back. Like, I could already sense, like, whatever it was. And now we only have like a minute and a half to go inside. So it's weird for a little bit because, like, as I sit down, like, now there's like one you know, he was 2 spots over from me. You know, now there's just nobody at that spot. And like his girl and brother and sister-in-law are all here too. So I'm, you know, just, it kind of makes me kind of like look around and be like, what's going on? Type of shit. And we had just done the third. And so I lay back and I'm kind of got my eyes squinting and I'm just looking through the top of the ear, and it was like nobody said anything, but it just like came to myself. It was like, just keep working on yourself. And I didn't think about that anymore. Now all I was thinking about was 90% me and 5% on each one of the people next to me. You know? I'd already given a hip to the guy in front of me, so my buddies right here deserve at least 5%. So the third one, once that happened, the third one was like a combination of the first and the second. Like, what you've learned, let's go over this again and make sure, you know, you got it. Make sure this is the best ways. It seems that everybody's happy where you're at, and so are you. Once again, no anxiety filled anything, or no pain pulled up or any of that type of stuff. Just like, you know, fix these little problems, and let's see if these are the right ways to do it. Well, let's go over it again. Let's think about it again. How about if you did it this way? You know, like bouncing a bunch of ideas off of myself. Throughout this time too, like hip doesn't hurt. You know, it's like I'm not laying on it anymore. I'm not stupid or anything like that, but all I was doing was working on me. I was proud of me for that. I was proud of, 4 out of the 5 too, like pulling through. You can't always have perfect scores on everything. 4 out of 5 is pretty good. All right, so we are going to go into the second day of this CHLQ self-transformation work. Going in the second day, just super happy to be like going. A little exhausted because I like didn't get good sleep. Brain was just constantly going. And we have an hour drive back and forth. So coming back, everybody's excited. They know what they're in for. Excited and exhausted. We get there, get a parking spot, do the same thing. Most of the stuff's already inside, so we're just bringing in like a backpack of drinks and whatnot. Like immediately, you already know everybody from yesterday, so hellos to whatever, and then we get like to the stairs. Jan's like, you guys didn't stay and eat yesterday, blah blah blah, and I didn't understand. Like, I'm like, what do we stayed, we had the snacks. Mark pulled out the whatchamajig. They're like, no, we do the snacks, then we do another talk, and then we have an actual dinner. None in my group knew we had the actual dinner. We drove home the night before starving for an hour until we got to the house, and then had to like take time to make food and all that when we could have just, had we known, ate. So we kind of messed up there. I'll feel bad. Sorry. Still happy, but I feel bad. And now that I'm like kind of getting my little bed area ready and rolling out the yoga mats, like doing the bending over, I can feel the hip a little bit. Still excited for what's to come, obviously. Do the first Daime. Like I get just like a little bit out of it. It's just kind of telling me like, really like stretch out the body and whatnot. So when I went home the night before, I was excited about the first work and really didn't stretch out the leg or anything like that or do any stretch in it. So I kind of was like doing that on the first work and really, as in all like the times Jonathan spoke, really trying to like sit up and really lean into and while stretching and make sure that I listen to all the stuff he said. And on the during the first one, my buddy to the left is going through it. Like this is like his dark one, and I can tell like, you can feel that energy, and he's sweating, flipping back and forth and whatnot. So I keep an extra eye on him, like put some napkins over there or whatever. Towards the end before we do the second one, like, he like gets up and I'm, everything's gonna be okay, buddy. Like, give him a little self-assurance. We do our little fist bump. He goes outside. He talks to one of the guardians for a while. He really needed that. That you could tell like that truly helped. He's gone from that area. I'm good, and Michael to the right of me, he's going through it again. And we have a little bit more space now because it's like the second day, and like Jay is like fully gone. I've like taken over his mat, and Mark's taking his pillow, so us big, we are full like comfort level now. As I looked around, like everybody gave, a quick glance at everybody I knew, and other people, but with the people I knew, like they all gave me like the quick smile and like head nod. And then like I would, turn to the next person, but as I was like turning away, I could tell that they wanted like, all 6 to be there, not just the 5, but all 6, because the 4 that pulled through on the first day of us really appreciated it and knew, and that the other two, if they could have been there, would have been great. So there was like just a little instance of that at the end of before we're going to do the second Daime. So then we go do the second Daime, and this time like probably twice as much, and it's a little bit thicker texture now, and I can tell like immediately that I'm gonna probably be in for one on this one because it was more than the first one. I'll go use the bathroom, you know, all doing our little talk, go in and sit down, and I'm one of the first people back in there to like sit down, and then Michael comes in like 20 seconds later. And as he's going to, because I'm super slow getting down to the yoga mat, as he's kind of like going down, he's like, "Do you mind? I have something like I really want to tell you." And I'm like, "Yeah, bud. You know, like sit down, we get comfy." And then that's when he told me like, you know, from the little story I told him, he had thought about it all night, and you know, he was going to make a donation towards them. So that was before the Daime hit. So me and him hug it out, obviously, both tears, you know, and that's the start of when it's hitting. Buddy to the left didn't do any for the second one. So when the second one hits me, I'm already kind of like, you know, the happy cry and all that, because what Michael did. Lay down, and this is the one. This is the one. It was so powerful that while I was going through it, in the back of my head, I was fighting with myself, like, no way I'm taking a third today. Like, no way. Like, my body's just telling me, because it was everything. I got all the geometry and numbers and letters, and if I was able to open my eyes and look out the top of the earth, like all the clouds were like old animals, like maybe not my specific animals, but like cats and dogs and all that. I was like, oh shit, you know, like I know them. And then it went into like family. Most of it was good, but like getting to the good, like I had to see the little bit of bad that like happened between like, you know, parents and my siblings and that type of stuff, to where I got to a point where it was like, my grandma used to have her kitchen in her apartment. It was small, but everybody went over there and like played cards and all that stuff. That's where the aunts and uncles were. And it was that kitchen, and it was like some of my family members, all family members that have passed, but the ones closest to me, and it was that feeling again of like, yeah, we're happy with where you are. But nobody, you know, nobody was talking, and it was like a quick glimpse. And then it was like, there's that painting where the people are looking through the window of the restaurant, and there's like Elvis and some famous people. And then it went to kind of like that, to where everybody I saw or was thinking about, like they were in that particular restaurant. No, I couldn't see their faces or anything like that. So I mean, that was super good. And like I even though going through all the dark shit and that whole second one was so hard, it was just like, you know, if there are little bits that I forgot, or like stuff in my head that I made more blame or more, I don't want to say hate, more, you know, more something. I guess it would be like more blame or more hate. And the actual truth would come out and be like, oh, well, they did this for that. They did this for that. Yeah, maybe it was still wrong, but, you know, take your thinking of that situation down a couple notches. And that's what it was. Like, in situations like my brother had a whole bunch of legal problems when I was younger, and that's really where like all the stuff in my brain started. And then it ended middle high school. And I just went through that timeline. So at the end, getting through all that, it was refreshing. But like I said, like during it was so hard, and I can't explain why it was so hard. You know, I guess maybe it was reliving it or whatever. But all the little facts that I found out all like built up to something. Like I was gonna try to come up with a time, but I don't know. Like Jonathan started talking, and I had gone through that whole timeline, and then I zoomed to like the timeline now. It came down to at the end of it, and it stuck with me the most. And he was like, "Oh yeah, definitely like forgive." You know, especially when it comes to, because he was talking about people, and you know how some things that people do in your life, you know, don't feel bad to not deal with again. And I don't know if he was talking about Jay at that point, but like he was in my head, and like a couple other people like that were in my head. And he was like, it just, no need to even add, you have no backpack now, you know, you don't need to add anything to the backpack. And the quote was something like, definitely forgive, but never support again. I was like, all right, that's fair. That's totally fair. And that's what I'll do. Then I kind of went back into it for a little bit, just going through that, you know, the whole forgive part, but not support, and like going through that little list of people that I needed to, you know, see if they were on that list. So that was rough too. And then kind of when I fully like, I was like, all right, I just need to sit up and take in the surroundings. I've got past all that, and like as I sat up, buddy to my left was just sitting up, comfy, kind of like sitting back, and you could tell like he was keeping an eye on me. He knew I was going through it now, and this one was the yin and the yang. Like the first one was his, the second one was mine. Immediately like gave me a fist bump and was like, you know, you did good. And then right when he was like, you did good, they were like, stand up for something. Jonathan needed us to stand up, and this was like the first time I could like fully like do it. And I was like, you know, I'm gonna fucking stand up. So as soon as I stood up, he came over to me and he just gave me the fucking best hug ever. And was just like, I love you, man. I was like, I love you too. And that was like the most needed for both of us at that moment. He went through one, I went through one. You know, I could tell I felt like nobody else in that whole room knew what was going on over here, but we did. That was just, it was fucking great. And then they were like, kind of like going to break, and you could tell like our hug, like started a little round in there, because as soon as I was done giving him a hug, and then definitely Michael deserved another one. And my buddy that fell on me, he was like, hey, Trust Hall, I'm so sorry. He gave me a hug too. We walked out all after a bunch of man hugs and some tears and I love yous and happiness to go walk out into the sun and get ready for the third one. Like I said, definitely the hardest. Great start to it, you know, with the whole Michael donation. and great end to it with the hugs and whatnot. And everything in between was worth it. But it was hard. All right, back for the third day. Coming in, it's day 3, exhausted. Everybody's comfortable with each other now. You're comfortable with your little yurt mates and the people next to you. Just even coming in, it was just like all zen, love, happy for the drive in. Everybody obviously exhausted from the prior 2 days, but like ready to close out the work. Getting there, just talking about the past couple days. Like I said, everybody in a good mood, good stories. No holding back on anything we're talking about. So we get there and we do the first one. And before it hits, Jonathan like goes into a story, and it was one that I could, hard of hearing, one that I could hear all the way through, and it like got me into thinking. And once it hit me pretty hard, I like laid down, and I noticed coming in, like on the third day, and now, like with what he said and like laying down, when I came in, I didn't, like anytime I'll go anywhere, I'll analyze the situation. Like everybody in there, I can usually, if there's 10 people in there, I can peg 8 or 9 out of 10 on like kind of like life story and whatnot. I've just always been able to do that. And when I came in, I wasn't analyzing anything, even if it was like if people were going through sadness or happiness or whatever they were going through. Like I just really like focused on me and went in my head, didn't think about any of the other stuff that whether good or bad, that happened. And as I was in there, I was like just thinking about like it, or it was telling me like the past couple times that I've been upset or mad about something, it's always like me going above and beyond with the help. Or like, I'll try to help with the situation and do, and then we set up something else to continue the help or whatever, and it always gets like moved around just whatever, like stuff that's out of my control. And it basically brought me to like, I go out of my way a lot on the helping. And I won't be able to like fully stop, but I do understand, I think, going into it, like people that deserve it and the people don't. And sometimes the people that don't, I still do it anyways, in hopes that, they'll become the people that deserve it and or make it useful or whatever. And I just have to stop giving out help when help isn't worth giving. Or especially when it impedes whatever I got going on, so I can't focus on what I got going on with my life. And I kind of knew that was a thing, but I just put that out there. Like, I want everybody to eat, but I don't want everybody to eat at my table. So that was the whole work on the first Daime. And then the second and third is all a blur, because both were just super hard. Super worthwhile, but super hard. Like, just went into the deepest, and it wasn't like the shit was dark, but I was just so open in my head that I went down every rabbit hole on stuff that might even bother me in the least bit, even if it's only once a year. It just kind of went through all of that. Um, so, like I said, rough, but like, you know, I was doing it to myself and it was needed. Like, let's just make sure everything's getting out and like get my to-do list in order and T's crossed and I's dotted. Like, I didn't want to miss anything. And then we get called to do the circle. All four of us in our group are part of this circle, and there's four others, and it's all people that did certain jobs um, in their past or now. And we get in this circle, and Anna, who played guitar and sang like the whole time, all 3 days, like just did a fucking wonderful performance of not performance, just you could tell that it meant a lot to her and that it was there to help. She did like her, you know, it reminded me of my shaman, like I said, just did the walks around, the heavy breathing, like just trying to get rid of all that negative energy. And then when Jonathan called us up to the circle and they started like the healing process and whatnot, like Anna just had her eyes like locked on me. Just like, you get to not even say anything, you just tell the eyes, just like release. You know, let it go. Feel the vibe, feel everything that's going on right now. And the circle was amazing. Like there's another thing where I felt something like this before. They hadn't, and it was just utterly and completely powerful because all the tears that the guys in the circle that are just like pushed down and act like weren't there, like were all let out, like audible sobbing. The girls were in like fetal positions letting it out. And we were there for like 10 minutes just getting it all out and doing it together. And it was like, I wish the 5th and 6th could have been there to see this circle because it's like a life changing circle. Just the release, everybody feeling the power. Zara like worked on the girls so hard and it was like perfect for them. They needed it. And Jonathan like started like his work on me and I could feel it. It was like just a huge energy thing in the room. Maybe it's because we're all in the circle or whatever. And like towards the end, hips, you know, still a little tender, and I'm sitting like Indian style, you know, kind of like hunched over. Zara comes to do like some work on me, and like when she takes my hat off, it makes me sit up completely straight and like just focus on what she's doing to me. And when I sat up straight, you could hear the audible like pop, pop. It was like the release and like not first and it was all within like 1 second. First my hip popped like fully back into where it felt good, and I had like a back crack all at once. And you know how you, or like after you get a good back crack, or like if you hurt your knee and you like bend and you like get that pop or pop, it's just relieving. It was like the perfect end to getting all that stuff out. And the fact that just like the focusing on her putting that energy into me made me sit up straight and like make everything pop back in place and just be loose again. It was great. And I 100% thank her for that. Like after that circle, like, you know, they let us up. You could tell everybody like had tears in their eyes, like they watched this circle. You know, it meant something to them watching us go through that. And still, like the whole time, Anna was just locked on me, and you could tell like when the tension relieved, and like even when I, you know, made the audible popping noise of my back cracking and all that stuff, like just her eye with her eyes, she smiled and was like, "See there, like you're better." And that was like the first person like out of my neighbors where I was like, I need to give this person a hug, be like, thank you so much, like, and just thank you, Anna, thank you. After that little circle, like I needed to be outside for a while. First, I just felt better and I needed to walk it out, and like I literally had faced everything in my head, all the little problems. You know that circle was huge. I really just needed like, you know, a nice walk it out and a nice cry. Like I probably was out there like 45 minutes. And nobody bothered me. They all knew I needed that too. Like just staring off into the mountains and, you know, checking out the birds and in my head just sending out the good vibes and like, you know, the whole sending out forgiveness and and love. From that point on, um, you know, as we came to a close, it was just like absolutely exhausted, absolutely exhausted. But I wanted to stay just to be able to hug everybody, give them, you know, good vibe. Hope to see them again, like everything. Like usually it was like mow down your food at the end because you're starving and kind of like get out of there because you're tired. But everybody was like just hanging out a little bit later to get like one last hug or one last I love you or one last thank you. And that's not something that happens anymore, ever, anywhere, where you just want to stick around just for the love. And that's what I love about this place. Wanted to stay longer because of the love. Phenomenal experience. Thank you.